I have the honor and privilege once again to be joined by Michael Swain from Freedom of Religion South Africa. Good day, Michael. Welcome once again to Behind the Faith.
Pastor Amanda, thank you so much for having me on the show. Always great to be with you.
Well, Michael, let's jump straight into it. We have been having conversations for a while now, and one of the things we spoke about, was concern around religious freedoms, not being the least of those, of course, being, the ability to gather. And I know there was a whole court case about that we spoke about earlier in the year. Can you update us with what's happening there?
Well, as you will know, the president has now opened up public gatherings, 750 people indoors, obviously subject to the 1.5 meter social distancing and all the other protocols that are in place, and over 2,000 people for outdoor gatherings, which is a good thing. But again, one of the concerns that 4SA has had right from the beginning is that there has been a pattern of unfair discrimination against the religious sector. For example, you might recall back in December, January this year, when you were allowed to, for example, pull the handle of a slot machine sitting next to somebody, but you weren't allowed to have a prayer meeting sitting next to one other person. And so we took the COGTA minister to the Johannesburg High Court, and that case is ongoing. And we've seen another pattern where a similar thing happened about 3 months ago. So November the 22nd to the 24th, we, 4SA, will be in the High Court in Johannesburg, and we are looking to the court now to set a legal precedent, to set the parameters, the framework which government must operate within when it decides what or how to treat the religious community, particularly to make sure that we're not unfairly discriminated against in connection with any other sector of society. So that will be very, very important. Once a legal precedent is set, if government does overstep the mark, then immediately one can go to court, one can get a remedy which will basically ensure that we are not subjected, which we have been unfortunately, to this unequal scale when it comes to how government has dealt with the religious community.
Talking about some recent court cases, you guys were involved in a court case here in KZN, in KZN here in South Africa, in Chatwood specifically. So what were you guys exactly involved in, and what was the outcome of that court case?
Well, this was an interesting speech. It was a hate speech case brought under PAPUDA, which is the Promotion of Equality and the Prevention of Unfair Discrimination Act. And in this particular case, a young evangelist had been invited to a public gathering, and he made remarks basically in sharing his testimony regarding his previous faith, which was the Hindu religion. And he said that it doesn't have any meaning, it involves the worship of idols, but the name of Jesus is above every other name that is named. Something which I think you would agree with would be typically something that somebody who's converted might well say, but it does not amount to hate speech. 3 Hindu organizations brought cases against him in the magistrates' court, serving as the equality court in this instance. And as a consequence, they were asking for literally hundreds of thousands of rands worth of fines, for him to do community service, for him to make a public apology, to never make such statements in public again. And of course, we, 4SA, approached the court to become what's called in legal terms an amicus curiae, a friend of the court. So we are not for him and we're not for the Hindu Association. We're just simply bringing the law. What does the law say about hate speech, particularly in the context of religion? And so we were in court this past Wednesday, arguing that we should be admitted as a friend of the court. And happily, the magistrate said, yes, he would admit us to be a friend of the court in this instance. So we will certainly be bringing the law, which would certainly, in our view, allow for that type of statement to be made.
Why is it that it was such a big thing? Because I know that the deadline is passed, but why was it such a big thing for you guys as 4SA for people to be involved and actually put in and submit their submissions regarding the hate speech bill?
The hate speech bill, which is a different bill, was reintroduced to Parliament. And the problem with the hate speech bill is it literally criminalizes hate speech. So whereas the PAPUDA bill is if you like, a civil remedy, it's a non-custodial remedy, it's a fine or community service or whatever it may be, the hate speech bill is a 3-year jail sentence for a first offense and or a limitless fine. So this is a very serious matter. And very concerningly, the definition for hate speech in the hate speech bill was even broader than the Constitutional Court's definition of hate speech, which they gave in PAPUDA. And there's absolutely no reason, by the way, why that same definition is not in the hate speech bill. It should be. You cannot have a criminal offense being an easier bar to, if you like, be knocked down by than it is in a civil matter.
Yes.
And so we were very concerned about that, and we asked people to make submissions on that. And also in the hate speech bill, there is a religious exemption clause. But that religious exemption clause, even according to the Deputy Minister of Justice, John Jeffrey, he's on record as saying he didn't think that it would cover remarks that were made outside of a religious meeting or context. So something that you might say from the pulpit on a Sunday, that would be protected. But if I, as a member of the congregation, repeats the same thing you said or puts it up on my Facebook page or something like that, I could potentially literally be arrested and, if sentenced, jailed for up to 3 years. We again went out to everybody and said, please send in your submissions. And wonderful, wonderful news. Over 100,000 people by the time it closed on Friday, the 1st of October, had made submissions. So now next steps are that they're obviously now going to consider all these submissions, and then we will have public hearings, and we, 4SA, will certainly be present to make sure that our voice is heard and that religious freedom rights are protected and upheld. But thank you, and well done, everybody. Well done for making your voice heard. The more people who make submissions, the louder and the clearer our voice becomes. So this was very, very important. So thank you and well done.
You know, it's quite interesting because it's very important for people to get involved in these kind of things. And the urgency behind it is obviously always education and being informed. Now, talking about education and informed, I know you guys are working with Joy Magazine in the month of October, and you guys are doing some webinars. So tell us a bit more about those webinars, because obviously that's going to be very important for people to be a part of.
This month of October, we're calling it Religious Freedom Month, and we're running a free webinar series every Monday, starting off tonight, which is going to be great, 7 to 8 p.m. And we're going to be covering a different range of topics, but the essence of the whole webinar series is the front lines in the fight for faith and freedom. So we just want to encourage everybody who's interested in these things, go to the 4SA website, forsa.org.za. There's an image in the spotlight section, which is on the homepage, and you can register there, sign up for free. And again, be informed. It is so important that we understand what is happening, particularly at this moment in time.
I'm very excited for this. I know I have signed up myself personally. What can people do so they can protect their religious rights and freedoms? You know, what are the steps can they take?
Well, we also have on the same website a newsletter. So we want to encourage you to sign up for the newsletter, because that means that you will get alerts if there's suddenly an urgent thing. And sometimes these things are urgent, by the way. You know, the hate speech bill that we've just discussed, out of the blue, it came back onto the screen. And again, only 25 working days were given by government within which to actually respond. So sign up for our newsletter. You can join us as well if you're a church or an organization or an individual, and give us a limited mandate to represent your voice. So when we go to Parliament or when we go before governments or commissions, we can say we represent X number of people. We currently represent, by the way, over 5 million people, which is fantastic.
Wow.
And again, make your voice heard, stay informed, and also donate, please, to 4SA. We are a voluntary organization. We are dependent literally upon voluntary donations to do the work that we do. So we would really appreciate it if you would click that donate button, and any amount would be tremendously helpful. We will put it to the best possible use, protecting and upholding our religious freedom rights. We stand for faith and for freedom.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again for some time out of your busy schedule. And of course, for all those who are watching as well, connecting with us, the details are all on the screen about how you can actually register, be a part, partner with, and just stay informed with what 4SA is doing. Michael, thank you once again for your time.
Thank you, Pastor Band. Always great to be with you.
God bless. Well, that was Michael Swain from Freedom of Religion, South Africa.